of you. Oh, man. What a great day. Amazing. So there's this thought about our brains are just amazing. They're this miracle in this world. They are extraordinarily complex. They are far from rudimentary. They are complex, gorgeous, magnificent, magnificent things. And they were made just complex enough to have a beautiful connection with the Lord on this planet, to have a perfect connection with the Lord on this planet. It's the way He designed it, as it should be. Everything that came from the Lord has an as it should be. It has a state of shalom. So our brains, as it should be, I think should be the standard of perfection because it's as it should be. And shalom is the word used for that. And our brains are designed to have a perfect, as it should be, connection with the Lord on this planet. And I just think that is amazing. To actually be able to have this incredible connection, relationship with the Lord. It is such a gift. They are created to have this connection. But what they're not created for is to house all of the information that God knows. That's unnecessary when you're connected with the Lord. You don't need to know everything He knows when you have access to Him. But in access to Him, you get to know more than you can know. Because your brain can't house all of the things that His brain houses. But in connection with Him, you can have much better access. My nerdy little brain thinks of an external GPU, how my brain is capable of doing so much more when connected to something that is much more powerful than what my brain houses. I.e. What is it? There's these, it's not the Steam Deck, it's another nerdy little handheld computer that's a little bit nerdier than the Steam Deck and can plug into external GPUs. Anyways, it's a very compact, small computer, but it's capable of doing quite a lot when it's plugged into something with a lot more power, and that is exactly kind of what this picture of our minds looks like, as well as other things, of course. But I was just thinking about that, just the way our brain is designed, and how amazing it really is. And when you marvel at the way that God is, and that the humbleness of a man made of dirt can commune with God Himself, the most extravagant being in all of existence, well, a far inferior image of this would look like, say, a supercomputer plugged into 19 how about a Model T? How about a Model T? How about a supercomputer plugged into a Model T? And there's this incredible adapter. If you could imagine how amazing this adapter would have to be able to incorporate the systems of a supercomputer, like the most powerful things with, like, you know, all of the most incredible materials that's capable of, like, shooting information at the speed of light, right? It's using, like, fiber where necessary just to cut out that much resistance that the metal that used to transfer that information, right? Now we're using light to shoot information because light can move faster than even electricity can move through metal. So if you think about this supercomputer, that is just amazing, right? And this, remember, this is far inferior to what I'm comparing. God himself. But imagine this supercomputer, and imagine it having a beautiful adapter that can make it work seamlessly and perfectly with a Model T, an old original first car that just has a little motor turning that goes through some gears and turns some wheels, and has some other gears where the motor's spinning at the same speed. You can change the size of the gear that's connected to that speed, and you can vary that speed here, and you can change the size of the gear that's connected to it here, and that'll make the wheels go faster or slower. And you got some real great control. Man, that's a fancy design, isn't it? It's a fancy design. It's beautiful. It is worth looking at wow, this body is amazing. My hands, I can move through this world. I can pick things up. I can run. I can jump. I can leap. I can experience joy. Joy through thriving in these bones. And I have this amazing adapter that is capable of communing and connecting me with the Lord, who just so happens to have made himself one with my spirit and is able to have conversations in here and counsel in a safe, beautiful place, a nice table surrounded by enemies. That's the way our mind is meant to be. I'm not saying that verse only means that, but I do think that it can point to this reality. If in Scripture you think what is said only means one thing, then you automatically think that your brain is capable of housing an ultimate truth, which I'm sorry to tell you, it's not. Your Model T just can't. It just can't, even with the fancy adapter and everything. It just, it's a really fancy, amazing adapter to make a Model T be in seamless connection with a supercomputer, right? Oh, it's amazing. It's an amazing adapter. But to think that adapter itself could house any comprehensive points from that supercomputer, well, then you start to not realize this is an adapter, right? You start to think that this is actually the same. This is actually the same. I can eventually get my adapter to be filled with everything that this supercomputer has. No, that's irrational and unnecessary, because we never have to be disconnected from the supercomputer, right? And so it's only things like fear that we might one day be disconnected that we would want to make a backup. Why do you make a backup? Because something bad could happen. I might get disconnected from you. And he says, don't worry, neither be dismayed, for I am with you even until the end of the age. We don't have to think in terms of needing to back up all the information anymore. We get to think in terms of staying connected always and always feeling safe. Even in the valley of the shadow of death, because his rod and staff comfort me. We are connected. And he prepared a table. In the midst of it all, we get to sit inside the house of our soul and patiently and quietly and in trust listen to the Lord. Lean in and listen as he gives us everything we need, as he covers a multitude of our missing the mark, as he delivers us from every single affliction. And even when we get stuck, even when we disconnect, he's capable of releasing us from the snare of the fowler. So there's never a moment where we don't have hope. There's never a moment. But when we start believing that we need to house everything as a backup, like this is a solution for that hard day, this is the solution, that I would be able to back up the information that I need inside this adapter, just in case I get disconnected. Well, that's just not logical. Doesn't make any sense. So I just love that. I just love that so much.